If I don't have something ready in the mornings, I can go until 11 a.m. sometimes without food.
Yeah.
But if I can just do a few things that set myself up for success for the week, like I just know it's going to benefit me. Smoothies for me, it's like it's a really good tool to add in 30 more grams of protein.
There's not always the time for smoothies, and I get that. It's just phases where you're like, I'm on the overnight oats phase. I'm on the egg phase. We just get in these routines where you're like, this is working. And then you mix it up and you need new things.
If you try to actually eat 100 grams of protein in a day, it's really hard. So you're going to eat less of maybe those unhealthy, ultra-processed.
You're listening to Be Well by Kelly LeVeque. Rachael DeVaux in the flesh. It's so good to have you here.
I know.
I mean, I just look at everything you've built. First of all, I have a girl crush on you, so I'm just going to be totally open and honest about that. I feel like having two little sisters, I'm like, I'm just going to also just adopt Rachael as a little sis, because I just think everything you stand for and everything you've built, it's just amazing. It's admirable. So you are the founder of Rachael Good Eats. You wrote the book, Rachael Good Eats, that went on to be the New York Times best-selling book, your first book. And now you've launched the high protein plate. It actually comes out next week. So this is pre-order week. Mm-hmm. If you guys are looking for a high protein cookbook with all of the science behind it, this is your book. But I'm just so happy to see you.
It's been years.
I know.
I remember coming to LA and when your first
you came to came to my second book launch in that backyard, and we did a yoga class and all the things. And then I had you on the podcast for your first book. And since then, you've become a mom. Well, you've gotten married. Yeah. I followed the whole wedding in Mexico. You've had a baby, boy moms for life. Well, we'll see what your future holds. You may get a girl in there, but it's just been amazing to watch you build this just a really loyal community and just be your true authentic self online.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, it's been obviously a journey, since 2015 of making my first food Instagram account, and it's just turned into just so many opportunities. And I'm just so grateful for where it's taken me. And it's so fun to just, live what I promote every day. And I feel like you and I share so many of the same beliefs and philosophies. So I look up to you in so many ways. I feel like it just goes both ways.
Well, I think there was a time too, you look back in 2015 where it was all about aesthetics. It had to look pretty. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't the messy, I'm pumping, trying to create a recipe also answering emails. And I think you've done a really good job of really pulling the curtain back and showing people your real life and being authentic, but also having partnerships with brands that are truly authentic to you. And so I want to actually go back to the beginning, if we can, and talk about your journey to building this massive community and online platform. What got you excited to start Rachael Good Eats? And how have you continued to stay sort of attuned to your North Star and your authenticity?
Well, I went to college for nutrition and dietetics.
You're an ID.
So when I was a senior, that's when I made my Instagram page, my separate one from my personal. And I just would post 1 to 4-ish times a day of literally only my food, snacks, things that I would, take to class with me. It would be at my desk. People would, be making fun of me, my classmates. And I just kept with it because it was fun. I loved the aesthetic of food and just making healthy food look enjoyable and fun and easy to do. And it was mostly for myself, but I think my friends and family obviously started following from there. And then it just kept growing. And I have grown up with my audience over the last decade. And I think that's, how we connect. I've gone through college. I, got married. Now I have a baby and I'm in the mom community. So I have just kept so many relationships from the beginning. And I think that's, made this whole journey so much more sweet. And I appreciate it so much. And it's just been a way for me to continue my passion and sharing what I love, which, it is food. And I've gone through so many different phases of, my life and trying all these different diets and seeing kind of what works best for me, and going through pregnancy and postpartum and sharing the real life of what recipes I did lean on and which ones actually worked for me. And so I found something that has really worked, and I feel energized on a daily basis. And obviously being moms, you have to have lots of energy to chase your littles around and keep you satiated. So I'm excited to share, 100 brand new recipes that really focus on what's worked for me.
Well, it's interesting because I remember when you leaned into sort of like a Paleolithic style eating, which is pretty much the antithesis of what you were being taught as an RD.
Yeah.
And really focused on those like whole foods, whole proteins, protein, fat, fiber, and greens, basically.
Yeah.
Like it was like really beautiful plates, but you were leaning into that. How has your eating evolved and your workouts evolved over time? Because I remember when you were getting ready, we talked about this before the podcast, for your first book tour, and I was like, Rach, like fire emojis in the DM here, because you were training with a goal in mind, and now it feels like you're eating with a goal in mind. So can you talk to me about how it's changed over time?
Yeah. When I was in college, I did try a few different things. I tried counting macros, and it was overwhelming. I think for majority of people, like it's stressful, when you actually pay attention to calories and exactly what you're consuming and putting into your body. And so it didn't really work for me. It wasn't sustainable for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue with a lot of people that, go into counting macros and hoping that it's going to be the solution to everything.
Right.
So that didn't really work for me. And so then I feel like I did kind of eat heavier plant-based for a phase.
Yeah.
I was always hungry.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to eat a lot more volume of food to actually stay full. And then that's also the time that I was having lots of stomach issues, and it was harder.
Why am I so bloated?
Harder to digest. I think, eating more beans and tofu and all the plant-based foods, which, I'm not opposed to. It's just also knowing what works best for your body.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening for me. And then, I don't know, probably around my first cookbook, I really started to focus on protein and just all around whole foods. And that's also when I started following a strength training program. Every week I have a couple 8-week strength programs. And I really find that works best for me. Like if I go into the gym, even as a trainer, and I don't have a plan, I'm usually just, go to my phone, just scrolling in between sets and kind of just, I don't know, making it work with, what comes to mind. But if I go in with a plan, it saves me time. Yeah. I know what to expect. I know exactly what I'm doing for the day in the gym. And so that's really helped me. And so I've stayed true to that. I really follow one of my strength training plans, and I'll take a few weeks off of break, and then I'll restart another one. So strength training has been huge, and rest days have been really important. The more rest days I've incorporated, I've actually seen more dramatic positive results in the gym, just allowing my body rest and time to recover and build. And then focusing really heavily on high protein diet the last couple years has made a significant impact in so many things. Pregnancy, I feel like, was really huge to, sustain muscle. I think that's a really pivotal point in a woman's life, going through pregnancy and postpartum. That window is so important with protein because you're, building a fetus, you're building a placenta, your blood volume is increasing. You really need those amino acids to just keep everything running, or else, you're going to start taking muscle from the mom's muscle,
right?
Taking protein from the mom's muscle. And so when I focused on high protein meals, I just felt a huge difference. And then going into postpartum, I mean, that's like a whole new world as a first-time mom.
Yeah.
And so I tried my best. It wasn't perfect, but I tried to prep, certain meals ahead of time. I really leaned on like slow cooker recipes and sheet pan meals and prepping overnight oats ahead of time. I have a really good honey blackberry overnight oats recipe that I've been loving. So it's all evolving, but I've really just found my stride, and it's become really relaxed. And it's because it's working, and I don't have to stress about what I'm eating every day and, how I'm training, because I found a system and a formula that really works for me.
Most people think their heart health is fine because their cholesterol looks normal, but critical markers like lipoprotein A rarely get tested unless you specifically ask for them. And since it's February, National Heart Month, there is no better time to go deeper than one basic cholesterol line on your lab report. I'll share my own story. On paper, I have elevated cholesterol. That alone might sound scary. But when I ran a comprehensive panel through Function, I learned that my lipoprotein A is low, my C-reactive protein is low, and my cholesterol ratio is in the heart healthy range. That fuller picture gave me the peace of mind I was looking for and helped me understand that my risk is more nuanced than just high cholesterol. And that's why I like Function for myself and my clients. It doesn't tell you what to worry about. It shows you what's actually happening in your body. Instead of obsessing over one number, you get context across your heart health, inflammation, metabolism, hormones, stress, and more, so you can see how everything fits together. Function is designed by world-class physicians and trusted by hundreds of thousands of members. Health leaders like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Andrew Huberman, and Dr. Jeremy London support it because once you understand your health, everything changes. You stop guessing, you stop being reactive, and you start making decisions based on real insights. To own your health, start with your heart. Function gives you access to 160 plus lab tests each year, including advanced markers for heart health, inflammation, stress, hormones, and toxins for $365 a year. Learn more or join by using my link. Visit www.functionhealth.com/BeWell by Kelly and use gift code BeWell25 for a $25 credit towards your membership.
My new amino acid supplements come in flavorless and lemon water, and they're flying off the shelves, and here's why. I have meticulously sourced these vegan fermented essential amino acids from Japan. I am so proud of this being made the Be Well way, with maximum quality and minimum ingredients. My flavorless is simply those vegan fermented essential amino acids from Japan. Our lemon water contains minimal ingredients of only organic lemon powder, organic citric acid, and organic monk fruit. No natural flavors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, no emulsifiers, no additives. This is simply that nutrition targeted for your goals. If you want to give my Be Well protein or aminos a try, or restock it if you're already loving it, take advantage of my gift for podcast listeners. Code PODCAST10 is going to get you $10 off just for being a listener. Write it down and shop with me after you listen. Well, let's get into that system and a formula because obviously there are 100 grams of protein in a day. You have 3 days.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that because first of all, I love that when working with clients, and I'm sure you've seen this with your community too. When you start to really drill down into like how much protein people are getting, and they're like, "Oh, I had a couple eggs and a scramble, and then there was a little chicken on my salad at the place I got, and then I like went home and I ate like a burger or whatever it is." And I'm like, okay, like 2 eggs, like 12 grams of protein. Okay, like maybe 3 ounces of chicken. Like we're like barely hitting 20 here. Okay.
I mean, most women are consuming 50 to 60 grams of protein a day.
It's like half of what you're asking them to do. And then the minute they get to that 100 gram mark, it's like, oh, it's real easy not to snack late night. So talk to me about like how, what the goal was for this book to help people and what your formula really is.
I don't want to make nutrition more complicated than it is. I feel like it's nutrition overload right now in the media, and just you can go down a rabbit hole with any given topic.
Sure.
And so I think having boundaries in place is really important for just your mental health and just not being overly stressed every day about, okay, what can I actually eat, And so I really want to simplify things and really give people just a framework and how to build their plate. Again, like you and I see things so similarly with nutrition education and advice. So I think just really putting protein at the forefront and anchoring that on your plate, and then you can layer in, your veggies, your fiber, your healthy fats, your complex carbs. But when you really focus on protein, you're going to naturally crowd out the unhealthier foods. Because if you try to actually eat 100 grams of protein in a day, it's really hard. So you're going to eat less of maybe those unhealthy ultra-processed foods and snacks that you would probably typically just grab if you're starving an hour later after eating.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so funny because my husband, Chris, is on a health kick, and he had the Instagram handle Be Bad by Chris, where he
I did
would
see that.
post pizza and onion rings and alcoholic beverages. It's fine. He got trolled. He never really posted after he got trolled on our baby moon. He's like, it's still there, but it's like, he's like, you know what? I don't need to upset people. I'm not here to take your business down. And I'm like, you're probably not going to do that. Let's be honest. But he's on a health kick beginning of 2026, and he's like, all right, how much protein should I be eating? And I'm like, well, I would love to see you get, he's 220 pounds. He's 6'4". I'm like, I'd love to see you. He wants to get back kind of down to his fighting weight, like 205. And I'm like, all right. It's like a gram.
It's similar with Bridger, honestly. Yeah. He's on the same
kind of kick
trajectory. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd be curious what you're telling your husband to do.
I mean, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he should do is really get in as much protein as he can.
Yeah.
If you can get in 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight.
Exactly.
That's like truly the gold standard. It's really hard to do.
100%.
So that's why it's a goal. Like the 100 grams of protein that I, recommend most people and especially women, it's a benchmark. Like, if you can get to that point, that's successful. But if you can even get close to that, like that's probably better than you're doing on any given day that you're not really tracking your protein.
Oh, I mean, first of all, I had Chris go for 200 grams of protein.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is so boring and annoying. Like, it's just like, hey, you know how much I've had to eat today? And I'm like, but are you hungry? And he's like, no, and it sucks. And I'm like, okay. He wants to get a side za, which is like a sneaky side pizza that is delivered from DoorDash at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. Kids are down, 3 boys, they're all down. We've had dinner, we've cleaned up. And he's like, just that emotional pizza blanket. He just wants the pizza blanket. And I get it because like it's a dopamine hit and it makes you feel good. But the fact that like he's going for that 1 gram right now and he's like, this is so boring. I don't even want it. And he's like mad at me, like obviously teasing me, and I'm like, sucks, babe.
Because he knows the right answer.
I don't know what to tell you, But the freedom for women to do that is so different. I mean, Chris is not. He's getting back into the gym, actually. He's joining a real gym again. He's mostly like, let's surf and run. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. And then he's like coaching all the sports. But, and God, I love him. He's the best. But sometimes I'm like, let's lift some heavy weights. Yeah. But for women to have that type of a goal and to overcome the mindset of like, oh, I'm eating too much or I'm eating too often or like I'm going to get beefy or bulky or big. Talk to me about how you overcome that with your community and how you share this science. Because I feel like getting someone to 100 grams is almost like a gateway. They're like, oh, I'm eating 100 grams a day. I haven't gained a bunch of weight. I feel great. I'm not hungry. Yeah. What next?
Well, I mean, first of all, if you look at it from a whole, 100 grams is very intimidating, I feel like. So I like to look at it in terms of your meals. Yes. You can get 25 to 40 grams of protein per main meal. Yeah. And then a little bit more if you have snacks in between. Like that's a lot more sustainable in terms of how you're thinking about your plate. Yeah. And then going back to muscle and strength training, muscle is metabolically active. So it's really going to help you burn more calories at rest if you have more, lean muscle mass on your body. So I think that's when strength training really comes into play. And if you can just focus on those 2 things, I think it's naturally going to just move you in the right direction every day. So I don't want to give someone, 10 different things to focus on at once. Like really try to just up your protein for, a couple weeks. And once you feel really good about that, maybe that's when you layer in some more strength training and trying to be more consistent. Even 2 days a week is going to be really helpful for resistance and strength training.
Well, I want to go 2 different directions with what you said, because you did mention that you're having more rest days. But I want to touch on breakfast first, because if you're trying to go for 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal, I love that. Because I'd much rather be fueled by meals than have to rely on snacking. I never really feel like they get me over the edge like a meal does. Like a meal is just one and done. Yeah. I feel great. I'm able to do my work, do the mom thing, run around, do whatever it is I need to do, right? But I don't have to worry about food, and it feels good. For most people, getting that quantity in protein and grams in breakfast is either difficult or they think they're getting it and they're not. What are some examples of like your favorite high protein breakfasts from your new book, High Protein Plate?
If you're in a group setting, I have a really good savory turkey bacon and herb quiche that like wowed everyone during the holidays.
Okay.
So that's like a fan favorite. I also really love a breakfast sandwich. So I created these maple chicken breakfast sausage patties.
Okay.
I just found myself buying them at the store all the time. And I'm like, okay, I could probably just make these from home.
Yeah.
And so it's such a good recipe. So I'll make that. And then I'll do a sheet pan of, baked eggs.
Yeah.
And then I'll layer in some, I'll build it with an English muffin typically. And then you could add whatever cheese you want, avocado. You just individually wrap them, throw them in the freezer. And then in the morning, you put them in the oven, let them defrost overnight in the fridge, and then you're like good to go, on the go. And then again, my overnight oats.
Yeah.
There's about 35 grams of protein in each little jar.
Okay.
And so it builds you 4 jars for the week. And it's something that I have really been leaning on in the mornings with, my 19-month-old now.
He's so big.
So big.
Crazy
He goes by so fast. And so I've noticed for myself, if I don't have something ready in the mornings, I can go until 11 a.m. sometimes without food.
Yeah.
And so if I know that about myself, okay, let me take 15 minutes on Sunday. I'm going to prep just, nothing crazy, nothing, when it comes to meal prepping, I'm not like a huge meal prepper.
Yeah.
But if I can just do a few things that set myself up for success for the week, like I just know it's going to benefit me and not get me hangry. And just, I'm a more patient person and I just feel like it sustains me, through lunchtime. And so I'll set myself up for success with that. But there's quite a few breakfast recipes. There's 5 new smoothie recipes. We love smoothies.
There's not always the time for smoothies, and I get that.
Yeah.
I'm a smoothie gal myself, obviously, clearly. But it's just phases where you're like, I'm on for you, maybe like I'm on the overnight oats phase.
Yeah.
I'm on the egg phase. We just get in these routines where you're like, this is working. And then you mix it up and you need new things.
Yeah. And then smoothies for me, it's like it's a really good tool to add in 30 more grams of protein throughout the day in an easy digestible form that goes down quick. I could just take it on the go if I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'll make it really quick, drink it on the way to the grocery store. Like it's just so easy. So we love convenience too.
So in your oats, how are you getting to that 35? Like what's layered in there?
There's
Give me a teaser.
There's hemp seeds. I do add protein powder
to the milk.
I do think it's a really good tool to get closer to your goal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Almond butter. There's nuts. It's very nutrient dense.
Yeah.
All my recipes are made from nutrient dense ingredients, and I think that's one of the ways or one of the reasons why they're so satiating.
Yeah.
And they're so palatable is you do want to keep coming back. It's not like you're eating, for dinner, plain chicken breasts and broccoli every night. Like I want to make things exciting, and
you do make things exciting. I think you've made things exciting for like over a decade. Like I remember, I'm like some kind of like stir fry Asian coconut amino situation happening, and I'm like salivating through my phone. There's I think that's what makes sort of sets you apart is it feels really accessible, really easy, very few ingredients, but all of a sudden you have these like pops of flavor where you're like, this reminds me of P.F. Chang's post-soccer practice with my parents. Give me the lettuce cups.
Yeah.
Something like that where you're enjoying and having like the joy of life and eating and sharing food around a table, but it's not taking hours to make it. It's something you can prep ahead of time, and it's quick and easy. So when you think about like your lunches and dinners that are in this book, like what are some of your favorites, or what are some of the ways that you make meals like faster and easier in your own home?
One of the recipes that made me think of is like we do love pizza from time to time. Like I think, how could you
Who
not?
doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to pair a big nutrient-dense salad with that
Yeah.
so that you can, have 1 to 2 pieces of pizza, but then also get in protein. So I have a really good Italian-style chopped salad with, deli turkey, hemp seeds, a variety of different proteins that is going to get you closer to that 35 grams of protein per serving. So you can feel good about the pizza.
Yeah.
And you're going to be full. I feel like a lot of time with just basic pizza, you aren't full. an hour later. It's going to just leave you a little bit weighed down, just a little bit lethargic. And so having a, protein as the anchor in like a side dish is going to help you just feel better overall about the meal.
This episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. And honestly, February is the perfect time to talk about them because this is how you can show up for yourself and give yourself a little extra love. For me, that looks like slowing down at night, protecting my sleep, and living in my Cozy Earth bamboo pajamas. They're incredibly soft, they drape beautifully, and they somehow keep you warm without overheating, which is huge for me. I genuinely sleep better in them. Every single bed in my house has Cozy Earth bamboo sheets too. And then there's the classic cuddle blanket. This is the blanket that lives on my couch and somehow always ends up wrapped up around me at the end of the day. It's plush, it has the comforting weight you need, and it just makes your home feel cozy and intentional, like you're actually letting yourself rest. What I love about Cozy Earth is that it's not flashy luxury. It's that quiet, everyday kind that really changes how you feel in the small moments. Better sleep, slower mornings, more comfort at home. They also make it really easy to try, which I appreciate. You get a 100-night sleep trial so you can live in it and see how it feels in real life. And everything comes with a 10-year warranty, which tells you a lot about their quality. So whether you're treating yourself or gifting someone you love, this is such a thoughtful way to bring more comfort into everyday life. So head to CozyEarth.com and use my code BeWell for up to 20% off. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure you tell them you heard about Cozy Earth right here at the Be Well by Kelly podcast, because everyday love deserves comfort that makes the little moments count. One thing I've really come to value as a mom is choosing pieces for my family that last. Things that are thoughtful, comfortable, and easy, especially for long days outside or traveling together. That's exactly why I love Minnow. Minnow is a family lifestyle brand rooted in clean lines, simple details, and effortless seaside feel. Everything they make feels timeless, yet fresh, playful, and polished. Pieces you reach for again and again because they just work. Founded nearly 10 years ago by Morgan Smith, a mother and entrepreneur who grew up in Laguna Beach and now lives in Charleston, the brand reflects life by the water through sun-washed color palettes, purposeful details, custom prints, and beautiful, high-quality production that feels elevated without being fussy. As a beach-going family, we've been loving their girls' rash guard one piece, boys' boardies, and unisex rash guard shirts. They're staples for us. Every suit is designed with comfort, performance, and protection in mind with UPF 50+ coverage. An easy fit, just the right amount of stretch, and incredibly soft fabric that keeps sand out. I also love the extra sun coverage without sacrificing comfort. These pieces wash well, hold up season after season, and make it easy for families to coordinate in a way that feels intentional, not overly matched. If you're planning time in the sun or a family getaway, Minnow is absolutely worth knowing. And they just launched their new spring collection, which is a complete family vacation wardrobe designed to be worn on island from arrival to departure. Shop Minnow's Spring 2026 collection at shopminnow.com and enter the code MEETMinnow15 at checkout to receive 15% off your first order. That's meetminnow.com, code MEETMinnow15 for 15% off.
I love that. I feel like there's so many times when we're, getting pizza to the house or we're getting takeout and I'm like, okay, if I am leaning on other places, not just making everything 100% from scratch, like how can I level that up? Like how can I swap out the dressing that's coming, or how can I add, like we used to have this place, we still have it. It's called Vibe. And they were like, seed oil free, organic. They have a couple in Newport and one down by us. And now they just added Maui Nui venison. But it was like one of those places where I'm like, I get this amazing bowl of like all this organic, seed oil free. I've got like cauliflower rice and lentils and like sauerkraut and all this stuff. But it was like so lacking in protein. I'd have to be like, all right, do I have like leftover steak or ground beef or something? If I had it in the fridge, I just throw it on top. And then I'm like, oh, rinse and repeat. That's so easy. But now they have something. It's having those little things that you always do. I feel like a trigger. You're like, oh, well, when we get pizza, we know I'm getting mom or Rachel, depending on if it's Bridget or Hayes, you say mommy salad, or, whatever. But those types of habits that are like become triggers for you where you know, like, oh, am I going to get the salad? If I'm going to get the pizza, like I'll make a big chopped salad, then all of a sudden it's not this like emotional hit of like, well, I didn't hit my protein goals, or I ate takeout, or I was bad, like that kind of self-talk. Like for you, like what does it look like when, I don't want to call it a cheat meal because I don't really like that verbiage, to be totally honest with you, but like how often is your family getting meals out, and how are you prioritizing protein when it comes to getting meals out?
I don't personally eat out a ton. I feel like if I order something, it's usually like Sweetgreen to the house, just because I actually love it.
Yeah.
Like I'll load up on the sweet potatoes and salmon and wild rice and greens. And so I know obviously how to build a healthier plate.
Yeah.
I don't want people to stress out, especially if they do have like a cheat meal or something that is unhealthy. But if you can sneak in, if you're going to get like a burrito, can you add extra protein to that, And so it's not just, full rice and beans and heavier carbohydrates. Can you add more of a stable energy source that's really going to keep you satiated for a few hours after? And so adding extra protein or protein on the side is like an easy way to, order out from restaurants. But I also want to ask you about your steam oven because I feel like that's all.
Oh my God. If you would like to, I inherited that from the previous owner of our home. So Chris and I bought our first home in 2021. Obviously, we were living in LA and that, that's a whole different market. We moved south where we grew up, which is Orange County. And so
that was like a weird tangent, but it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
And I have to ask because every time you make something,
it's so easy.
You always rave about it.
It's so amazing. I have to say, talking about fast, quick proteins. So like in a steam oven, they're pretty small. They look like the size of like a big microwave. Okay. They're not like super large. Maybe you can get them large, but the ones that I have is pretty small. But it's great because literally you can put in a like stainless steel sheet pan, you can put rice and bone broth, slide it into the steamer, hit steam. It's steaming for 8 to 10 minutes. Then you can pull a huge fillet of salmon out, throw it on top of that rice when it's like halfway done cooking, steam that for an extra, like 6 minutes, throw broccoli on top of that, give it an extra 2, 3, 4 minutes, a little bit al dente, but not like steamed till it's mushy. And then literally pull it out and throw like a homemade chimichurri sauce on it. It's a 1-sheet pan and you've got like all the components that you need. Hard-boiled eggs, I never boil them on my stovetop anymore. I steam them. You can steam them to like the perfect jammy egg. You can steam them to a hard-boiled. The reheat option on that happens so fast. I don't have a microwave in my house.
Okay.
Like I reheat everything in my steam oven, which holds on to nutrients. You don't have like proteins don't get as denatured as quickly because microwave, people are like radiation. And I'm like, actually the cell phone you have in your back pocket stuck to your ear, like in your bra is giving you way more radiation than a microwave. But microwaves spin water in your food at such a high rate. That's why you have uneven cooking. So like if you have water spot, like parts where there are like a condensed part of water, like more water, then you can have like hot spots and cold spots. But because you want everything to be hot, you have to cook it a little bit longer to get all that water to spin enough to heat up the whole piece of protein that you're reheating or whatever. So yes, I cannot rave about the steam oven enough because you can do steam to convection, which is also really awesome. So say, for example, you're going to do like a sheet pan or you want to do smashed potatoes. I can go steam to convection where it steams until it goes over 220 degrees and then it starts to become dry. So not only have you softened your potatoes,
they get crispy,
but then I'll pull them out and smash them down, throw the olive oil and salt halfway through, and then they're like all crispy edges.
Okay.
So you can do that with any type of like all your sheet pan recipes in here, like it just levels it up just a little bit. But it's also a convection oven. So it reheats to convection, it's steamed convection. Yeah. So if you're ever feeling like, wow, I like to like redo my kitchen, I recommend this to everyone.
That's so good.
And I'm only using it. I mean, I went to the class at Wolf. I was like,
did you?
Well, because I inherited it. And I'm like, what is a steam oven? Like this is like it's a I know how to steam rice or like broccoli or whatever, but yeah, I had to go to the class. I mean, they make in the class, they're like proofing bread and making like homemade sourdough rolls. And
it's like at the Apple store when you see all those people sitting on the
yes, it's crazy. So yes, highly recommend a steam oven.
Okay, that's honestly really good to know.
Yes, I do for like reheating food for your kids. I mean, I don't know about your 19 months. I mean,
right now I use Our Place, the big oven, the toaster oven.
Oh yeah, that's very popular. People are loving that
like every day, just because it is quick. You don't have to heat your entire oven.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I used to use the Breville air fryer, which was like a little mini oven, like that Our Place one. Great too. But then when we moved and I had the little steam, it heats up so fast and it's so small, like the Our Place, where you're like, I don't want to like wait forever for my big oven to heat up, but also it's quick and fast. But it's crazy because when you have, I mean, Hayes is 19 months.
Yeah.
You're feeding him all the time.
Doesn't
it feel like you're just
all the time?
I am constantly.
How do you feed 4 guys in your house?
I mean, I have these moments. Actually, I have these moments where I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I literally just slow cooked. Like, one of my favorites is air fried. I'll use my little steam oven on convection and I'll do like taquitos where I'll slow cook the enchilada sauce with chicken breasts and roll it in the siete tortillas, put it in the oven for 400.
That might be what I commented recipe on your post.
Oh, yeah. That feels like up your alley.
Yeah.
I literally will do 4 chicken breasts to 6 chicken breasts. I will make 20 of those and they last like maybe 2 days.
Okay.
Like maybe. Like we'll get like 3/4 of them done in the first meal. And I'm like, and that's not even, I mean, it's insane. Like Chris is always on the barbecue. I'm like, I feel like advanced glycation end products. Like I just feel like I'm like, we're charring everything. The boys are just eating off the cutting board. I can't keep up. And they're not even, we aren't in high school. You know?
I know. That's what I'm thinking
trouble.
ahead now because Hayes is such a good eater and he's eating so much that I'm like, okay, what's going to happen when he's actually a teenager? Like, you know, doing sports and. Yeah. But I feel like
it's awesome.
You do such a good job with all your recipes with him. So
I saw Hayes eating sardines, I think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to remember to ask Rachel of all the quick proteins. Because I will say, like, in your book, you do a really good job of putting all the protein sources, the grams of protein, the quantity that you need to eat to get that protein. Those kind of numbers are invaluable because once people know it, kind of like when people used to care about calories, they were like, oh, I kind of generally know what that is.
Yeah.
But once you start switching and thinking about protein, you're like, all right, now I need to scavenge for protein in every way that I can.
Yeah.
So can you talk to me about quick sources of protein that you and your family use or that you feed Hayes that you also eat and love?
Yeah, I mean,
to get you to your goal.
Yeah. Well, going back to the first 50 pages of the book are literally, it's my tips and educational material. And there is that, couple pages where it breaks down common everyday protein. So you can visually see how much protein, there's 40 grams of protein in 6 ounces of chicken.
Yeah.
There's 45 grams of protein in about 6 ounces of salmon. Like you can really see how much you're getting. And so I want to make it easier for people. I included macros on every recipe, so you can use them if you track. And obviously you don't have to, pay attention to them if you don't.
Yeah.
But quick proteins for us, I love just doing chicken breasts in a slow cooker with a jar of salsa. That's like my go-to. You can pick your favorite salsa or just in a, Dutch oven or a pot over the stove for 15 minutes and then you just shred it up. Yeah. You can make tacos out of it. You could add bone broth and make a soup out of it. You can, put it over rice with veggies. There's so many different things you can do with it. So I love just making that once throughout the week and double batching it so that we can, have a variety of different meals from that one thing. Hayes, let's see what he has. What's the brand? The Waters Ranch. What is it? Sausages.
I use Teton.
Yeah. Teton. Okay, so
those
we use
grass-fed
that.
beef sausages.
Yes.
They're so good.
He loves those.
Yeah, me too.
Eggs,
you and me both.
I know. We love them. We go through so many. He had a big sardine stint when he started to learn how to eat solids, and I feel like I haven't given any to him in a couple months, but I need to bring that back because they're so nutrient dense.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He eats so many meals of what I just cook for us, which has been really easy. And I really wanted to start with a variety of different foods off the bat. It was my goal to have him, have or try 100 different foods by the time he turned 1. Yeah. So I got one of those, dry erase sheets to keep track. And that just gave me ideas, every day.
Yeah.
I was intimidated when we started solids.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just such a different arena with babies and kids, compared to feeding us. So I kind of put it off, honestly, to start solids. But once I got into it, it's been so much fun. And it honestly has like inspired me to try different things myself, just to, have him branch out with his diet. And so that's been really fun. I love making him a smoothie every day. It's one of those things, like he is a really good eater, but I know, every day is different. Sometimes he won't eat as much and sometimes he'll eat double the amount.
Yeah.
But if I can have this smoothie ready and, give it to him in between meal times, and if he drinks it, like I'll feel so good about the nutrition he's getting.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to hear it the full?
Yeah. Give me the recipe.
It's a very nutrient-dense smoothie.
What are we sneaking in there?
So it's bone broth for the liquid.
Love it.
And then you add in some ice.
Yeah.
I'll be specific here.
Yeah.
2 tablespoons of frozen blueberries.
Okay.
About a third of a frozen banana.
Okay.
Handful of spinach.
Yeah.
2 tablespoons of kefir.
Okay.
So you're getting probiotics.
All those probiotics.
And then I'll do a tablespoon. I'll switch it up between hemp seeds, chia seeds, or flax seeds.
Okay.
So omega-3s, fiber. Sometimes I'll do a slice of avocado.
Yeah, heck
for
yeah.
some healthy fats and fiber if he doesn't have it, for breakfast or lunch.
Mm-hmm. Vitamin E, let's go.
Yeah. And then a spoonful of peanut butter. And he loves it. Like it doesn't taste bad. I've tried it. You can't taste the bone broth, especially if you chill it beforehand.
Yeah.
And then you blend everything together. And so if he drinks that, I feel so good, about things. And so that's one of the staples that he has been consistently having since he was like a year old, I feel like, almost every day.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I love that so much because that's something that doesn't feel intimidating when someone's starting to introduce new foods. But right there, you're like, okay, all of those active probiotics, all of that gut-loving, like collagen amino acids in that bone broth. Plus you're like introducing peanut butter, which feels scary to people at first because you're like, oh, is my kid going to be the one with
am I going to?
But now we know like early introduction lowers allergies. Like that's, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I may personally need to throw a scoop of my protein powder in there.
I know, yeah.
But it's not something that you need to do for babies when you've got that bone broth base.
Yeah. And especially if they're eating,
healthy foods,
proteins and healthy foods as, the rest of their diet.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going through a picky phase with your kid, try to maybe make a smoothie. They're probably going to, want to drink it.
They do. I file like, what's interesting is, and you'll see this probably with Hayes, because you were so adventurous. I know it's hard the first time with your first kid. I remember Sebastian, like, if you did baby-led weaning too, you're like, okay, here's a big piece of food. And you're like, don't gag, don't choke. Yeah. And it's kind of like, ooh, you're like watching your kid like a hawk. And then you're like, I want to bang on his back. Like, what's happening, Yeah. But you kind of like have to let him get used to it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think, with Bash's eczema being our first and being like, well, what is he allergic to? What's causing all this? We like kind of had like, it was a little touch and go at first, but the kid is an amazing eater because it was so exciting to introduce foods, but also like what you said, like if you're doing a variety, you're probably doing vegetables you weren't in the habit of eating anyways. And most people are like broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, like cucumbers, carrots, and you're not venturing out, like you're not using bok choy or like radicchio. And then all of a sudden you're like, I want my kid to have this, so I'm going to eat better. And you're introducing those things. But it's interesting when you move, and I'll be curious if you end up having a second or a third or what your plan is, and we can talk, maybe not, maybe you can tell me. But like watching it kind of play out, I would just like advice for people who haven't had their second or third yet is when you add extra humans and you're like, whoa, this is getting crazy, or I have so many humans in this house to feed, you start being less creative. And you're so take that same intention into your second, because you will see, I've seen it play out perfectly in my kids where it was kind of like the leveling up of adding Tosh into the mix and being like, okay, I'm going to go with like what I know, which is like, I'm going to make a taco bowl. I'm going to make tacos. I'm going to make my taquitos. I'm going to make like, sheet pan dinners. And I went back to those basic vegetables that I know Sebastian loves. I know Chris loves. I'm pretty sure Tashin's going to love. But keeping that variety, like Bash is still my best eater. Like the kid will
Really?
eat and try anything.
Okay.
Like I'll make myself a cup of
Well,
tea
so
to
no,
like
this
read
is
a
the
book. And he's
advice-
like, can I try it? And I'm like, yeah. Tashin's like, don't.
Okay, that's the
Get
advice I
away from me.
need because it's obviously our first, so we
Yeah.
don't know any different, and it's going to be helpful. We do want more kids, so I feel like that's really helpful. Is like continue the variety and
Find a way to like get excited about bringing variety back or keeping it alive again.
did he
maybe
go through picky phases?
Oh yeah. So Tashin became and it like came up for me because he will smoothie.
Oh,
He will have the smoothie, you know, but thankfully he is my protein kid. Like he downs those Teton beef sausages.
Yeah.
If we are making taco meat on the stove, he doesn't even wait for it to be put in like any type of Mexican food
Any
contraption.
vessel.
He's like, put it in a bowl and he just like walks right. And there's like meat kernel, you know, crumbles all over my floor. I'm like,
yeah.
there's so much grease on this floor, but you know, thankfully I like know in my heart, I'm like, okay, like he will eat fish, he will eat ground beef. He's into chicken, but not as much as the other, the other two proteins. And in my head, I'm like, okay, all those micronutrients, all those B vitamins, like you have to negotiate with yourself or like make yourself feel better as a mom when you go through those picky phases. And the more they're introduced, obviously at birthday parties or like friends' houses or at school or daycare or whatever it is you end up doing, you're like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't the food I really wanted you to eat.
Well, yeah, and I know that's coming. So if I can, control what we're eating at home and making sure it's for us, it's, high quality. Usually whatever I bring into the house is pretty high quality. So it's something I can control. So if I can, keep doing that as long as I can, I know he's going to have cupcakes at, a friend's party and that's going to be fine. But like he hasn't had I can count on my hand the amount of times he's had added sugar. Yeah. And so if I can, extend that as long as possible, I think that's so important. I'm so proud of you, Rachel.
I literally it's boundaries for these babies when they're little. Like it's so important. And those first, they're like 1,000 days. I think about no added sugar until he's 2, and like, you're like, okay, there's his first birthday and there's this, but knowing you, I know it's like,
well,
stuff
did you see
made or paleo style.
Did you see my smash cake?
No, I missed it.
But yeah, so it was no added sugar. And then the icing was his favorite plain unsweetened yogurt.
Oh,
and so
God.
it was, and put raspberries all over it.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's, of course, I'm going to have him have sugar, later on, but that's one of those things that is a boundary for me, and I can control it as much as,
You totally can control it now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it becomes difficult with the second when you're, like, I will say, like, coming down the pipe for you is Sebastian would be invited to a birthday party and Tashin's on my hip and we're at the birthday party and then I'm like, you can't have it. And then it's like tears, and these really hard moments where you're like, oh, I see how the second and third get everything so much sooner than the first. And you're like, this is this like Goldilocks period of time where you have one child and you're like, I'm protecting you,
Yeah, the bubble.
Yeah. I'm going to work really hard for you though, because my next book is all about kids and sugar.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
that's so exciting.
That's what's coming for me. It's like I'm in this like literal sugar soup. Like it doesn't matter. Like my kids are in so many sports, baseball, football, basketball, and you're like, they're getting participation awards of like, here's a brown bag full of, and there was actually a research study on it, 26.5 grams of sugar on average in after sports reward treat bags. And everyone's doing this. And I'm like, when did it go? Like, I think the first year I was in ASO, it was like my mom brought sun-kissed oranges. And then it was like Capri Suns. And now it's like Primes and these huge crumble cookies. And like, it's so out of control. And like, you're like, I just wanted my kids to play sports,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like anxious generation for sugar. Like that's where I'm coming from. And I'm like really excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not in that phase yet, but I know
it'll be
there's so many phases to
hopefully
come.
the sweet deal movement will be here before Hayes gets
so
to
exciting.
Hayes gets to elementary school.
Amazing.
But it's your head's in the right spot. I mean, I literally think about like, okay, how do we control the controllable, which is what you're doing, like in your house, at your table, with your high protein plates, feeding your family. And, for a lot of people, I feel like it can feel really overwhelming to start something new and it's the new year. And I want to give people the tools to do that with your book, but also with like your knowledge and your habits and your tips and tricks. So like when you think about prepping, like you mentioned prepping your overnight oats and that doing that recipe gives you like 4 breakfasts locked and loaded, like 15 minutes of life.
Yeah.
What does meal prep look for you now that it's not just you and Bridget?
Well, it's prepping recipes that Hayes has daily. So I'll make a double batch of his favorite cottage cheese pancakes.
Okay.
And so I'll just keep that in the fridge. And he has like 1.5 every morning, along with unsweetened Greek yogurt with some berries. I'm trying to think what else, with hemp seeds sprinkled over the top. She calls them sprinkles.
Oh my God, love this little boy.
Dietitian coded thing.
Sprinkles.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a big awakening when he gets to his first birthday party. He's like, those are not sprinkles,
Eyes
mommy.
Are gonna light up. Yeah. And so I'll try to like home make him a batch of muffins that he could have. So it's just, you don't want to get to the moment where I've been in so many times. It's 6 p.m. What are we having for dinner?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest struggle, is just mentally preparing and just literally taking 10 minutes to plan your next, doesn't have to be the whole week, plan your next 3 dinners.
Yeah.
And maybe that's every Monday you have this for dinner. Every Wednesday you have this for dinner. Every Friday is the same thing. And then in between you can add variety and have a different dinner. But I think that takes away some of the decision fatigue that I have diagnosed myself as like full indecision. So yeah. And then just making sure, you order groceries ahead of time, and that's going to set you up for success of being able to make those 3 dinners. And then can you get double the amount of ingredients for the dinner so that you can make a huge batch and have, leftovers for lunch the next day, so that in the moment, if you're busy in between meetings or, taking food to work with you, you can just grab a portion of that and know you're just good to go in the clear. And so it is a little bit of thinking ahead. I don't necessarily meal prep a lot of my recipes, but I do go to bat for, can you have 1 to 2 proteins already ready in your fridge? And can you have a variety of different veggies that you can make on the spot? Veggies don't take a long time to make, 10 minutes maybe. And so then if you build that onto your plate with, complex carbs or roasted potatoes or, bone broth rice, like that is really just going to make building a plate that much easier. So I just want to give people the framework for actually what to do. And yeah, people say, eat a balanced meal, but like so many people don't know what balanced means.
Yeah.
So I want to just break that down and really give them the framework and what to actually do.
Well, I think that's why I've always loved the recipes that you make, is that, you can, let's say you did have the groceries and you had the proteins in your fridge, like you can ask yourself at 6 p.m. what's for dinner.
Yeah.
And you can make something and have something delicious in, 20, 30 minutes that's going to be faster than getting takeout. That's going to be healthier for you. And it doesn't require you to spend your entire weekend prepping meals that by the time Wednesday rolls around, you're like, I really don't want to eat this.
Well, that's why I always have a pound of either organic ground chicken or ground turkey in the fridge with a red bell pepper and some green onion, because I have this ginger garlic turkey skillet that is on repeat for those exact moments when I don't know what to eat or make for dinner, because we love it every time. It never gets old, I feel like, and it takes 20 minutes to make. So that's probably my favorite, maybe most used in the cookbook.
Okay, so is that is your protein is the ground meat already made, or are you just like you'll just make it in the skillet because it takes 10 minutes?
It's one skillet, so it's
easy.
20 minutes start to finish.
All right, so we've got ground turkey or chicken, some red bell pepper,
coconut aminos, arrowroot starch to thicken the base a little bit. I love utilizing just jarred garlic and jarred ginger. Yeah. It just makes things really quick and easy. Of course, like fresh is great, but like that, it's also going to taste, the same.
Yeah.
And so I'll just throw those 2 in, dice up red bell pepper, and it's delicious. You can add it over rice. You can make it into like tacos or lettuce cups or whatever you want.
Sounds delicious. I'm going to make that one quick.
Make it.
So when it comes to other quick recipes in your book that you love and you think are a great starting place for people, like what, other than your that turkey lettuce cup recipe, what are some of your faves?
The 20-minute shredded chicken verde, like what I talked about earlier, is like literally just chicken breast, and you throw a jar of salsa in the pot.
And are you on like medium low simmer? I've never done it that way. I've only ever done steam oven. Here we go. I've only ever done shredded chicken in my steam oven or in my pressure cooker, like my Instapot, like on pressure, or as a slow cooker, kind of like that typical slow cooker. Throw your chicken breast in, put half to a full jar of salsa in.
If you're doing it in a pot, I like to sear the chicken first. And so just add a little bit of oil, salt and pepper, the 2 chicken breasts, sear each side.
Yeah.
And then pour the jar of salsa over. Turn it down to medium to low heat, cover, and just let it cook for 10 to 12 minutes.
Great, so it's like a steam oven.
And then you pull the chicken out, put it on a cutting board and shred it with 2 forks, or you can use a stand mixer.
Yeah.
And then put it back in the pot and it's ready.
I like the sear tip because I feel like you're probably, one, you're getting that flavor, but you're also sealing it so that it doesn't get like rubbery.
Yeah. That's a really good way to do it. So, or the slow cooker, and then you can let it simmer throughout the day.
Yeah.
If you're going to be busy all day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I have a really good pot roast recipe, and which is
love a big piece. It's so amazing to me when you think about like a roast or like a big chunk of meat where you're like, it took me 5 minutes. I put it in a Dutch oven. It's in my oven, and then you come home to your house or you're in, and you're just like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
kids devour it.
Yeah, or like a beef stew. My favorite during the winter. I broke it into sections. There's 30-minute recipes. 30 minutes or less. There's 1 pot, 1 pan. There's slow cooker. I really want to make it easy for people. Like these are simplified recipes where it's not going to take, the most work to put together. There's salads and soups.
Yeah.
There's a really good creamy Tuscan chicken soup.
I haven't made one of those before. I'll have to get on that.
My Marry Me chicken.
I did actually make that.
Did you?
It was delicious. Yeah.
So good.
It was really, really good.
And I use coconut milk, so it's, you could make it dairy-free if you like.
Well, I have to because Sebastian's allergic to dairy. So that's when I saw yours. The only app I really pay for on my phone is New York Times Cooking. And a lot of times I'm taking these like pretty complex recipes and trying to like
Oh, I love that.
Swap. You're like, I'm not going to use the white sugar. I'll use the honey or maple syrup. Okay, I'm not going to add it. And then I'm going to use coconut aminos instead of soy sauce or whatever. And you're kind of like trying to do it. And you always just do it for me. Oh. So like I saw the Marry Me. It was like constantly coming up on one to make. And it obviously went viral last year. And I was like, I'm going to make it. And then you posted it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to make it. Yeah, everyone loved it. Okay, Sebastian loved it. Yeah. I mean, my very adventurous eater was like, this is delicious. And Tasha was like, why is there red sauce on my chicken? And I'm like, this is called a sun-dried tomato, Bubs. Let's give it a go.
I love that.
Yeah. And then Julian's hit or miss. He's like, who am I going to follow today?
So he's like maybe more go with the flow.
Julian is, he's just like along for the ride. Thirds, they're just like, what's up? I'm here. You guys have been waiting for me the whole time. And they're just
you
smiling.
all sit down for dinner together? Or is it all? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, that's really important to me. That's been really important to me since Sebastian was little, especially given that like I'm the working parent and sometimes gone from the house. It just, I love that. It's really special. We do high-low buffalo, which is like, what was your high of the day? What was your low, or what did you learn? And what's the buffalo? Like something funny or a bonus. Oh, so I might get home and I'll be like, my high of the day was I got to see my friend Rachel in like real life, and it's been so long. My low of the day was I had to get up at 4:50 to drive up here to do these podcasts, but that's okay because I learned that if I leave by 5, I get here in an hour and 15 versus 2 hours. Bonus.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo will have to see how it goes. I
love that. Okay.
Yeah. Buffalo will be like, maybe like, I'm going to make you guys these like awesome red pepper scallion turkey.
Ginger garlic turkey skillet.
Ginger garlic turkey skillet. You've never had it. We're going to try something new.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love that.
It's cute. Yeah. And it doesn't, they're at the age where it's like 15 minutes. They're like itching. One of them's got like a leg off the table. Like, let's go. Like my Lego, my football. Competing for that attention.
Yeah.
But
we're barely in the high chair anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's mostly in his tower.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
God, love
a tower. And so when we do dinners together, he's in the high chair and it's like 5 minutes probably.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, which is, I know what to expect now.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning I was like, okay, no, like you need to sit down for, longer.
Yeah.
But then,
they don't.
The Instagram videos also target me and they let me know that that's, for his age, it's like 4 minutes is happy.
Yeah.
high chair time. And so now I know what to expect.
We actually, we got to a point where they were like, well, are we done? Can I be excused? Can I be excused? And now we're just like, they were asking too early. So Chris got a little timer, Christmas time. So we have a little timer. I mean, there's just like, everybody's got different attention spans. And we're like, it's always 5 minutes. We at least sit for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So you just put it on. They're not allowed to ask if they can get up for 5 minutes.
Oh,
they can see the timer.
Love that tip.
But it actually calms them down. Because I feel like before they
it was
were
like the unknown.
Is now the time? Is now the time? And they're like, and now they know that we go around the table and we all have to say a little something. But yeah, it's easier with the younger ones because they see their older brother, the older sitting for a little bit longer. And I'm sure there's some therapists listening to this who's like, that's not the way to do it.
I love that way,
but
the timer, that's a good idea.
But it's just, like I'm not expecting them to sit for 20 minutes. But
take what you can get nowadays.
Take what I totally will take what I can get. And I also think about their breakfast, which is, we all sit before they go to school. And sometimes, one of us is still kind of making lunches or kind of making extra protein or whatever it is that we're doing in the kitchen. But one of us, Chris or I, for breakfast is always kind of sitting at least with a cup of coffee being like, okay, what's the plan? That we're pretty consistent with that. And I'd say that making meals at home really helps that. I think when you're grabbing things out and I'm sure it'll all change. It's like the season right now.
Yeah.
Sports will impact that. Everyone's practices get later. I remember playing soccer and being getting home at 9:00 at night. My sisters definitely had already sat down and ate with one of my parents, So that'll play a role. But right now it's good.
We made our mornings very go with the flow. His morning wake window. We really try to both be present for that.
Yeah.
I think we need to probably adjust just based on him staying up a little bit later now.
Yeah.
He's still on 2 naps a day, which I'm
wow,
holding on to
dear
as
life.
long as I can. But yeah, I think just being present for that full wake window and having breakfast with him is so fun. And then once he goes down, that's when I usually, start the work day. And so that's been just really fun.
Well, now it makes me curious about what day in the life of Rachel really looks like nowadays. So run me through your wake up, working out, when you're making food, and then generally out a week, do you have intervals where you always kind of go to the grocery store? Or
no.
You always, okay.
No. Yeah. I am not a type A when it comes to planning ahead.
You're my B+.
Yes.
My favorite kind of people.
Yeah. I actually asked ChatGPT, analyze me, and it did a really good job. But it's not, I'm type A with certain things. I like to get things done, and I'm very good under pressure when it comes to deadlines and things like that. But I go with the flow for the most part. So I wake up at 7:15.
Okay.
Hayes wakes up around 7:15, 7:30.
Okay.
And then I get his breakfast ready, pop a pancake in the toaster oven, and go get him and bring him to his tower, and we'll have breakfast together while I, unload the dishwasher and clean the kitchen and just hang out.
Yeah.
We'll play for a few hours with Bridger, and then he'll take his first nap around 10:30, and that's when I usually go down to our gym in the garage and get my workout done, take a shower, and start work emails. And there's not set days that I have where I should be recipe testing and, getting to certain projects. But I feel at the beginning of the week, I just scope out what's coming and kind of plan from there. So, yeah.
So would you say work nowadays is prioritizing content and book promotion?
Have you seen the lack of posts from my...
No, I haven't. I'm just barely surviving my own social media. Are you kidding me?
No, that's been probably...
ChatGPT do all my social media posts for me, and then I actually take it back over for my team, do one post, and it's so glad you're back. And I'm oh, no pressure.
No, that's been probably the biggest adjustment is just the lack of time I have for work. But I'm also okay with that because I know everything is a season and a phase, and I love being so present, and I'm so grateful that I get to work from home and see him all day. So the content is definitely on the back burner, but I feel for me, I've built the last 10 years of being super, super consistent with posting and, putting out as many recipes and workouts as I could and doing all the things that now I am more intentional with what I'm posting.
Mm.
And it's really quality over quantity
Mm-hmm.
for me. And I think just everyone's priorities shift, you know, with different seasons of life and what they're going through. And so I've learned to just be so okay with that.
You have to be. Oh
You
my
have
gosh,
to
if
be.
I could look back and be
Yeah.
like, oh, like don't care, like the season, like this. I'm a perfect example. I feel like Instagram's like, Rachel posted, you should look at this. Like, and I haven't noticed. So,
Well, that's good.
you know, I think people are all just like living their own
it's the
little
rat
lives,
race. Yeah.
you know, and it's, yeah, quality over quantity. And like, I think you've earned this time. When I think about like building, like that's what you've been building for, you know, building to like support your community and then also to give yourself the flexibility of getting to enjoy Haze and like this season of motherhood and like doing the mom things. And
of course, it goes through my head all the time of like, I need to post something. Like people are posting every single day. Like I, you know, can't keep up. But that's just not my reality right now. I feel like there's just so much on my mental load and my mind share that's happening. It's like sometimes I'll just get to the end of the day and be like, I never got to do X, Y, Z, you know, so many things. You have to choose your priorities, which, you know, comes with the territory. And so I'm okay with it.
Welcome to motherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to parenting. Parenting 101 right there.
Totally.
So when you think about your priorities and like what they are right now, like what are your intentions for this like season of life?
Being as present as possible with Haze. I feel like I'm pretty good at not being on my phone with him, which is very important to me.
Yeah.
Making sure I take care of myself so that I can take care of him. So that means getting movement in every day, even if that's just going on the treadmill for 10 minutes and walking, you know, while he's taking a nap. Like that always makes me feel better, gives me energy.
Yeah.
And then feeding myself in a way that's gonna, you know, support my goals. And, you know, it obviously goes to his diet as well. What I'm making myself, I'm feeding him. So like, let's just start from, you know, square one there and make sure that we're all being, you know, fed nutrient-dense ingredients and fruits and veggies. And yeah, so I think those are, what is that, 3? My top 3 priorities?
Yeah.
And then work is last right now, which I'm fine with. Obviously, my second cookbook is coming out. And so that was a huge project while I was 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And 3 months postpartum is when I really got into like the recipe testing and creating and all that, which was really hard. And, you know, coming back from like maternity leave, quote unquote.
Yeah. With a vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of impossible if you own your own business.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been like a learning experience and pivoting as I go and trying to make time for it all, which is impossible.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're doing it. And I would say your priorities are in lockstep with the type of life you want. Like the phone thing, especially being a content creator or having a presence online is so difficult and like a constant thing that like no one wants to be on their phone in front of their kids, you know? It's interesting because this year, like I don't know, I probably saw it on Instagram or something. Maybe it was an interview. I'm like trying to remember, but to tell your children like your intentions for the year and say them out loud so they can hold you accountable. So Chris is like not great in traffic, and our 2.5-year-old has been using some foul language.
Okay.
And our nanny sort of confronted me about it. So I was like, okay, so I saw this thing. So we need to say it out loud so our kids can hold us accountable. And my whole thing was to be on my phone. And Chris was like, sometimes daddy gets frustrated and uses bad words and I don't want to do that, you know? And so I want you to hold me accountable not to do it. And then like each of our kids had something to say, but mine was like, it's always about the phone. And I like just like try to vocalize. There's sometimes like work has to happen for me. Like, it's not just content anymore. It's a product company and it's the podcast and everything. And so just like even vocalizing that to them and being like, I hate being on my phone. Like, I don't want to be working when I'm home and I'm getting an office to like make that better. But if you see me on my phone or if you're trying to get my attention and you're not able to, like, I need you to tell me that I'm not following through on my commitments, because I want them to know they're more important than anything else in this world. So that balance is, it's a thing, but there's this cool thing called the Arrow Box. Have you heard of it yet?
No.
It's like gamifies it. It's in our mudroom, plug in our phone, put it in the box. And then you come back to the box and it's like, you've been away for an hour and 45 minutes. What did you do with your real life? And then you get to log it. You're like, I was surfing with Sebastian, or like I was watching. The hardest thing for me is the photos. So I got an actual camera because I'm like, I just like want, like every time I'm reaching for my phone, if I'm with my children, I'm like, I want to capture this.
Yeah.
You're so cute, or a video or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm
60,000 photos on my phone.
Seriously. You're like, forget about it. I just like need to. Yeah. So I actually have like a dummy iPhone, and I have a,
I love that.
That's not connected to anything. And then I have a regular camera, but those are such great intentions. I just love that for you and for your family so much.
That's cute. I love that. Once Hayes gets older, I'll see what he's actually a chatterbox right now, so maybe I should start really with that.
So cute.
My intentions.
So when it comes to like showing Hayes, your sort of like daily life and like what's important to you, does he see you work out in the gym? Does he ever come in there? Like, how are you sharing your love of like movement with?
Yeah, I think that's important. I try to, set his tower up when I'm cooking, and
sous chef. Let's do this.
Got him a little, wooden knife, and I think he's really starting to get into it. If he hears something on the stove cooking, he'll be like, Mommy, see. And so I'll pick him up, and he wants to like know what's happening, and we'll bring him into the gym while we're working out, and he'll try and lift a dumbbell and go, ooh. So I'm excited to like get him his own like kid versions.
Yeah.
I've seen they have like, the
kitty kettlebells or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm excited because I think that's so important to show that, we do need to take care of ourselves, and that includes eating well and taking time to move. And we try to, as much as we can, get outside. In Seattle, it's a little bit harder right now, but like even if it is sprinkling out, like we always try and go on walks and go to the park. And so I think that's a necessity with having kids, but I think that's so important to show them.
Yeah, I love that. I would want to ask you like, what's in store for like the next 5 years? But honestly, like,
oh my God, who knows?
What's in store for right now is like just like really truly like being in the present with your sweet family and celebrating this amazing new book, The High Protein Plate. Yeah. I will say, like, I let my kids look through it, and Sebastian, and I told you before the podcast, we were going to make that chocolate bark protein bark. And Sebastian, I let it, and that's another thing we do with the boys, because I have amazing friends like you who write these killer cookbooks, and I would say that I was a home chef, and then they asked me to add recipes to my books, and I was like, okay. But I let my kids look through my cookbooks, and so Bash was like, we got to make this one, and I was going to make it before we taped this, and I'll try to get it up before this podcast goes live, but that. There's some desserts and yumminess in this book as well.
We can't leave out desserts because we all love a sweet treat. And if you can feel good about adding in, like small amount of protein really adds up. Yeah. Especially if you're getting in like the bulk of your protein through your main meals. Yeah. Okay, you can add another 15 grams of protein eating a chocolate coconut caramel tart.
I mean.
Okay. Yeah. So I did want to make that, obviously part of the book. Yeah. I think we all love a dessert, and I think sharing enjoyment through food is so important. And so there are definitely desserts in there.
Yeah, it looks delicious. So we can't wait to make all of them.
Send me pictures.
I'm so happy for you. This is the second book in your probably soon to be library of books in your future, but very excited about this one because I feel like when you sent me the PDF version before it was going to go live, I was like, there are so many clients that need access to these easy meals with the stuff that's already in your fridge, and you don't have to be type A cooking all weekend to make it happen. And you've shown us that through your new book, The High Protein Plate, which comes out next week. This is pre-order week, so get on your phones, whether Amazon, go to Barnes & Noble, go to your local bookstore. Rachael DeVaux, the high protein plate, 100 satisfying everyday recipes. Congratulations, Rachael. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy to see you in person.
Thanks, so good to see you.
I can't wait to watch your family grow and watch Hayes lift his fake weights.
I know. Yeah. Can't wait.
But all of these recipes make a difference. It's like when you can get one or two things and you don't have to open your cookbook to get it. You've made it a couple times and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Then that's the stuff that when you run to the grocery store changes everything for your week. And you're doing it. You're giving people the tools to make it happen. So
thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Where can people follow along? Where can they learn more?
My Instagram at Rachel's Good Eats and my blog, Rachel's Good Eats. That's pretty much it.
You're the best, Mama. I can't wait to see your family grow and this success of this book. I know it's going to be another bestseller.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Be Well by Kelly LeVeque podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review in your favorite podcast app and subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. We're also excited to share that full-length video episodes are now on YouTube and Spotify, so you can watch along as you listen. The best way to support me and the show is by sharing it with your friends and family. Your recommendations make all the difference. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson. The video is recorded by Luke Rodriguez and edited by Jesse Trout. See you next time.
The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical or mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or healthcare team first.